The relationship between the United States and North Korea has been a long and complicated one, marked by tensions, conflict, and intermittent attempts at diplomacy. The roots of this relationship can be traced back to the division of the Korean Peninsula following World War II, and the subsequent Cold War-era proxy conflict between the United States and the Soviet Union. Since then, the relationship between the two countries has been marked by a series of high-profile events, including nuclear tests, missile launches, diplomatic summits, and hostile rhetoric. The history of the relationship between the United States and North Korea can be traced back to the division of the Korean Peninsula following World War II. In 1945, Japan, which had controlled Korea for more than 3 decades, surrendered to the Allied powers, and the Korean Peninsula was divided into 2 separate zones of occupation, with the Soviet Union occupying the northern half and the United States occupying the southern half. The division of Korea was intended to be a temporary measure, with the goal of reunifying the country after a period of transitional governance. However, this process was complicated by the onset of the Cold War, and the emergence of the Soviet Union and the United States as global superpowers. In 1948, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, DPRK, was established in the northern zone of occupation, led by Kim Il-sung, while the Republic of Korea, ROK, was established in the southern zone, led by Syngman Rhee. Korean War, 1950–1953. The Korean War, which began in 1950, marked a major turning point in the relationship between the United States and North Korea. The conflict began when North Korean forces, supported by the Soviet Union and China, invaded South Korea, sparking a response from the United States and other Western powers. The war lasted for 3 years, resulting in significant casualties on both sides and the devastation of much of the Korean peninsula. In 1953, a ceasefire agreement was reached, which established the Demilitarized Zone, DMZ, that continues to divide North and South Korea to this day. However, the conflict did not result in a lasting resolution to the issue of Korean reunification, and tensions between the United States and North Korea remained high. Post-Korean War era, 1953 to 1990s. Following the Korean War, the relationship between the United States and North Korea remained tense, with both sides engaging in hostile rhetoric and actions. The United States imposed economic sanctions on North Korea, while North Korea pursued a policy of isolationism and self-reliance, known as Juche. In the 1960s and 1970s, North Korea carried out a series of kidnappings of South Korean citizens, as well as citizens of other countries, in an effort to train spies and infiltrators. These actions further strained the relationship between the United States and North Korea, and contributed to the international isolation of North Korea. In the 1980s and 1990s, North Korea's economic and political situation deteriorated, leading to a devastating famine that claimed the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. The United States provided humanitarian aid to North Korea during this period, but relations remained tense, with both sides engaging in occasional military exercises and displays of force. Nuclear program, 1990s to 2000s. In the 1990s, North Korea began to pursue a nuclear weapons program, which would become a major point of contention in the relationship between the United States and North Korea. In 1994, the United States and North Korea signed the Agreed Framework, which was intended to freeze North Korea's nuclear program in exchange for economic aid and political normalization. However, the Agreed Framework broke down in the early 2000s, as North Korea continued to pursue its nuclear program in secret. In 2002, the United States declared North Korea to be part of the Axis of Evil, along with Iran and Iraq, further escalating tensions between the two countries. In 2006, North Korea conducted its first nuclear test, sparking international condemnation and the imposition of new economic sanctions. The United States, along with China, Russia, South Korea, and Japan, engaged in a series of diplomatic efforts to persuade North Korea to abandon its nuclear program, but these efforts were largely unsuccessful. During this period, North Korea also engaged in a series of provocative actions, including missile launches and military exercises near the DMZ. In 2013, North Korea conducted its third nuclear test, prompting the United States to take a harder line on North Korea's nuclear program. Trump administration, 2017 to 2021. The election of Donald Trump as President of the United States in 2016 brought a new dynamic to the relationship between the United States and North Korea. Trump engaged in a series of high-profile exchanges with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, including a historic summit in Singapore in 2018. At the Singapore summit, Trump and Kim signed a joint statement in which North Korea committed to working towards the complete denuclearization of the Korean peninsula. However, subsequent talks between the two countries broke down, with North Korea accusing the United States of failing to offer sufficient economic incentives. The Trump administration also pursued a maximum pressure strategy towards North Korea, which involved imposing harsh economic sanctions and engaging in military exercises near the DMZ. While this strategy succeeded in putting pressure on North Korea, it did not result in any significant progress towards the goal of denuclearization. Current status. As of 2021, the relationship between the United States and North Korea remains tense, with both sides engaging in occasional displays of force and hostile rhetoric. North Korea continues to pursue its nuclear program, and has recently developed new ballistic missile capabilities. The Biden administration has indicated that it will pursue a different approach to North Korea than the Trump administration, emphasizing the importance of diplomacy and engagement. However, it remains to be seen how successful these efforts will be in resolving the ongoing conflict between the two countries. Conclusion. The relationship between the United States and North Korea has been marked by a series of high-profile events, including the Korean War, the development of North Korea's nuclear program, and a series of diplomatic summits and breakdowns. While both sides have made efforts to find a diplomatic solution to the conflict, tensions remain high, and the situation on the Korean peninsula remains one of the most pressing geopolitical challenges facing the world today. It will require continued engagement, dialogue, and compromise to resolve this long-standing issue and pave the way for a peaceful and stable future for the Korean peninsula. Thanks for watching.